Professional Conversion Program Sharing Session. I'm Brandon Ng. I would like to share with you two programs offered by NUS-ISS from Professional Conversion Program perspective. What is Professional Conversion Program? It is a conversion of career switcher to be reprofiled to be data analyst. This includes professionals, managers, executives, and technicians, in short, PMEs. For PCP, it is a place and train program, which means a particular candidate needs to be hired by a specific employer with job scope related to data and analytics before he or she can embark on this program with us. In terms of program structure, I will go through detailed information pertaining to PCP for data analyst and PCP for business analytics program analyst. Before I move on in detail, typically business domain knowledge is important for us to leverage on to solve a particular business challenges, business problem, business issue via data with appropriate analytics techniques. With that, the decision, the outcome will be the actionable item for us. Looking at the situation here, in the past, business intelligence became one of the key capability for majority of the organization in the past. Back then, data warehouse being set up by all of organization meant to achieve the capability of reporting and dashboarding. Over the time, data and analytics emerged as a new transdisciplinary field simply because it is involving mathematics, or to be more specific, statistics and operational research. It involves problem-solving skill and critical thinking, logical thinking via software programming and software tools, as well as business domain. With the situation, there is an evolution of analytics maturity model from descriptive analytics to diagnostic analytics, subsequently followed by predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics. The first course, data analyst. A typical candidate to be reprofiled to be data analyst prior to the past experience in working environment. Of course, in this program, there is 5 courses to be attended by the candidate. First, statistic bootcamp. A candidate will be taught all the data summarization, data preparation, data exploration techniques to achieve descriptive analytics. Subsequently, he or she will learn hypothesis testing to achieve diagnostic analytics. Of course, the last section of this course is to teach the participant to pick up linear regression, be it simple linear regression or multiple linear regression. With that, the candidate will be able to achieve predictive analytics capability. The second course is predictive analytics. On top of what they have done in statistic bootcamp, there are additional predictive techniques to be taught, such as logistic regression, time series forecasting, neural network, and decision tree. So far, our main source of data are in structured manner. There are cases where the data are in unstructured manner, such as email, survey form, log files, social media, and etc. Now with that, text analytics is appropriate to handle data meant for topic modeling, sentiment analysis, and etc. The fourth course will be customer analytics. Due to all of cases where there's ample of demographic information pertaining to people or customers, customeristic analytics will be there to ensure that clustering of the customer, profiling, segmentation, or even principal component analysis can be conducted accordingly. Now, with data and analytics project, typically we need to adhere to start and end date of a typical project with intended outcome. With the situation, by and large, analytics is following the iterative and incremental manner. Of course, managing business analytics project is in place to ensure that the candidate will be equipped with the necessary skill set to handle a typical data analytics project. After the courses, the participant will go through 5 days of clinic session, namely for enrichment, industry sharing, or even revision session before they embark on their practicum journey. In the structured apprenticeship and mentorship, the candidate will go back to the company to start working on the real industry project based on the acquired skill set to be applied in the real analytics world. So with that, a candidate will be reprofiled to be data analyst in digital marketing, for example, customer analytics, quality assurance, operation, or even business intelligence industry. The second program, PCP for Business Analytics Program Analyst. The 4 courses involved in this program is Statistics for Business, Data Storytelling, Data Governance, and Managing Business Analytics Project. For Statistics for Business, candidate will be taught how to handle data statistically, to prepare the data, and to perform prediction. Subsequently, the data will be used for effective communication and persuasive presentation via data storytelling framework. This to ensure that the findings from the actual data analytics project can be presented to the right person at the right time, right quantity, and the right quality. The third course is data governance. We have to ensure that how the data quality, data security, data confidentiality need to be adhered to in order to handle the data properly, yet be able to achieve the analytics outcome. Last but not least, managing business analytics project. As similar to the previous program, PCP for DA, managing business analytics project is to ensure that the participant or the candidate will be equipped with project management skill set to ensure that how agile methodology, for example, can be implemented to handle an analytics project, and it is in agile by nature. And of course, in this program as well, there's 5 clinic sessions where there is an enrichment session, seminar, revision, industry sharing, and etc. And again, the same concept apply where the candidate will go back to the company to embark on their practicum journey, which is working on a real industry project. So the candidate will be reprofiled to be a data analyst to take up the role as operations analyst, business intelligence analyst, or even business analytics project analyst. Now, for those who are very new to data and analytics industry, maybe I'll give some examples to illustrate further the typical role for a typical data analyst. For example, in the past, in the office environment, you may predict a colleague always go to meet management, having a chance to present in front of management to be promoted next. Or you may even suspect a person always take half-day leave, take MC, may resign next because they tend to take the leave to attend job interview. Now, this is based on our human judgment, right? Without data, we can't confirm to certain level of confidence level. However, Given the data from HR system perspective, you can carry out a typical HR analytics project by looking at the appraisal system, by looking at the HR leave systems. We'll be able to churn out the similarity of the trend and patterns to confirm whether a particular colleague is going to resign or going to be promoted next. Another example for PCP business analytics program analyst, typically we may working day in, day out using Excel spreadsheet. Working on the data crunching, data preparation, and of course, last but not least, to present the insights using graphical manner. There are cases where you notice that there's a limit or capability you can perform within Excel spreadsheet. With that situation, you may think through what's the best way to achieve the limitation of your job scope. Example, IT project manager. You may need to handle a typical data and analytics project. With that situation, you may think through, will a typical BI tools or data visualization tools be helpful for you? Or with additional data exploration, data preparation, analyzing data using certain statistical model will be improve your capability in handling your entire business analytics project. Now with the situation, this business analytics program analyst will be in line with your intention to achieve the ultimate goal of your journey. So in conclusion, there is a different job scope for a typical candidate to be reprofiled to be data analyst, be it in the first one, PCP for data analyst, or the second one, PCP for business analytics program analyst. In the past, based on the experience we have conducted the program for PCP DA, this program is launched 4 years ago, back in October 2016. We oversee quite a number of projects, candidates from different companies, be it from public sector or private sector, are they from SME or MNC. The projects we've seen through, including wide spectrum of cross-industry domain. For example, for manufacturing, supply chain, transportation, all the way to banking, investment, and etc. So in other words, data analyst is a job scope. However, your skill set can be applied regardless of the industry, be it business function area or vertical industry in that sense. I pretty much covered the job scope and the syllabus for both programs. With that, I would like to answer some of the questions which posted by some of the audience. Which one is more in demand for either DA or BAPA? It really depends on the industry needs. Typically, when a company required an intensive analytics skill set to be implemented to come up with more insights information, I would say it is meant for PCP DA. However, there are some companies require a skill set in terms of creating a dashboard meant for reporting, meant for top management presentation, then it is more in line with business analytics program analyst. Another question, what if currently unemployed but interested to join this program? For the target audience who are interested in this program, you can reach out to us, do visit our website, and keep in touch with our colleagues from Career Services team. They'll be able to revert to your concern and your query accordingly. The other question, how do we choose which program we want to enter? There's a two aspects of it. First and foremost is your interest. Whether you want to make sure the data being used to the maximum capability to come up with certain insights, or your capability just wanted to ensure that dashboard to be created, to be utilized, or to be deployed in the production for the actual usage in the organization. Now, this is really pretty much depends on individual interest. However, there's a demand from company as well. For small scale company, for example, SME, they may starting the journey with data and analytics. They may lacking of data, but the most crucial task to be executed, to be accomplished, is to create a dashboard so that this information will be able to use by the top management for critical and strategic planning purposes. Now, in the kind of situation, BAPA, it is more appropriate in that sense. However, if the long-term program, long-term intention for you or the company is to achieve analytics at a higher order, for example, predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics, then I would say DA is more appropriate because you will make use of the real data, working on the algorithm to ensure that it can achieve certain insights derived from the data. Another question, what's the key differences between these two programs? I would say it is kind of the learning outcome based on the program. Please allow me to go back to the slide so it's clearer for everyone. For the first one, data analyst, pretty much you will cover more intensive of analytics techniques from statistics bootcamp. You will cover the descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, and predictive analytics. Whereas in terms of the second program, business analytics program analyst, in statistics for business, it will cover the fundamental of prediction. Example, clustering. However, the technical deliverables for this program is to deliver a working and functional dashboard via data visualization and storytelling. So you can see that in fact there's a distinctive differences between the deliverables of the actual job scope for the two different job roles in this case. Another question, do participants need to pay for the training? For PCP program, it is company sponsored with funding from funding bodies. So in that sense, the participants do not need to pay for the school fee. However, it is subsidized by the authorities, right? So it's kind of employer-sponsored program. Another interesting question, what are the selection criteria for PCP candidates? Let me refer back to the first slide. A typical eligible candidate, be it from professionals, managers, executives, and technicians, PMEs, you need to be hired by a participating employer, which means the employer willing to sponsor you for this program. Eventually, the employer is the project sponsor for your practicum. because the project to be executed in the practicum journey must be from real industry project. So with that, when you embark this journey with a company, you'll be enrolled in this program with working together, collaboration between NUS-ISS as training service provider with the employer and the employee. Another quick question, I always use Excel to do my analysis. So am I better off to be in data analyst program or business analytics program, analyst program? Now, it really depends on to what extent is your data analytics job scope in your current situation. Maybe I give a good example here. When you need to do data preparation using Excel spreadsheet or data crunching, data manipulation, we are referring to basic necessity of individual data analyst. However, if the job scope involves to create more advanced dashboard using Power Pivot, Power View, or even Power Map, for example, in Excel spreadsheet, then you kind of achieving certain level of data analyst embarking on BAPA. Because in PCP for BAPA, we try to ensure that the participant, the candidate, be able to achieve deliverables based on a typical data dashboard for insights presentation. However, if your current job scope is within Excel spreadsheet and yet you have confidence to go to the next level, I'm sure that data analytics or PCP for data analyst can be suitable for you as well. Another good question, is PCP DA more suitable for candidates without IT skill set? It is really depends on the IT skill set you're referring to. Now, a typical data IT professional, especially those are handling a lot of data, or we profile them to be data engineer. They may working on data preparation. They may have done a lot of data piping project in the actual IT project perspective. He or she may have a lot of visibility pertaining to from data source, database, data ecosystem. Example, making use of script to execute ETL tasks. He or she may have the advantage in terms of data perspective. However, in terms of data analytics or business analyst, business analytics program analyst, you need to bring yourself to next level by implementing data and analytics skill set. Example, prediction, forecasting, or other techniques where we categorize them under supervised learning and unsupervised learning, where basically to be covered in the 4 or 5 courses respectively in these 2 programs. Another question, is it payable for the 5-day clinic? The 5-day clinic is part and parcel of the practicum. Please allow me to go back to the program structure. So as you can see from the slides, in fact, 5 days of clinic session is part and parcel of the practicum, which means additional enrichment class, seminar, industry sharing, where we try to carry out to ensure that the participants learn beyond the 5 or 4 courses in respective program. This will be helpful for them. One other example is that, for example, in PCP for BAPA, one of the aspects is that SQL, for example, is required by a typical data analyst or even data scientists to extract data from data source. It is not covered in detail in the program based on the 4 courses listed here. That's why it is injected as additional enrichment class so that the candidate be able to gain the benefit from this unique session. Sidetrack. SQL is ranked 3rd important language in data science space. One of the questions is, what are some of the companies that are participating in PCP for data? I assume data analyst, PCP for DA. We do have companies from public sector, private sector. We have companies from MNC and SME. And they are wide spectrum of business domain, from manufacturing to finance, banking, investment, human resource, customer analytics, event management company, sales and marketing, and etc. So these are typical of industry required. In fact, data and analytics is required by all the companies to improve their business competitive advantage in the industry. Okay. Another question, what's the difference between the program and EBAC master degree? For PCP program, it is covered within 1 month of in-class training plus 4 months of practicum. With such short of training time frame, a candidate will be deep profile to be data analyst. However, if you find that your interest is really in data analytics, you can continue your lifelong learning with us by embark on our Master of Technology in Enterprise Business Analytics project. Because when you go to a proper training in master degree program, you'll be trained more intensively, more in depth in terms of syllabus, in terms of time frame as well, to be a full-fledged of data scientist. Do visit our website for all the courses. In fact, all the courses listed in these 2 programs are having the same syllabus from individual courses perspective with master degree program as well. There's another question. What's the difference between PCP and diploma program? I'm not too sure which diploma you're referring to. However, for our PCP program, upon completion of the course, when successfully complete the practicum, the project journey, you'll be awarded by NUS-ISS with professional diploma. Another question, is it a programming heavy course? What languages can we pick up first before deciding to join this program? A very important question. Now we go back to the PCP for data analyst for the beneficial for everyone. You notice that for PCP data analyst program, typically we conduct statistics for business, or in this case, statistics bootcamp, predictive analytics, text analytics in R programming. So for this question, it is beneficial for you to pick up as a preparation, as a course preparation before you embark on this program, which is a very good practice. However, for PCP, for Business Analytics Program Analyst, the courses will be conducted using software tools. For example, Statistics for Business, you may use of specific tools. Similarly, for data storytelling, pretty much involve business intelligence tools or data visualization tools. For example, Microsoft Power BI, or even Tableau, or even ClickSense or ClickView, depends on the company's requirement. And of course, in this case, when you do training, tools is just for us to demonstrate how the implementation can be done. In the training perspective, we try to be tools agnostic. It really depends on the demand from the industry. It really depends on the company's needs and the license available for company to make use of certain license software for production usage. Okay, another good question. Any particular dashboard or ML toolkit will be covered? Tableau, Click, Google, Amazon, IBM Stack. Now, in this case, for PCP BAPA, Business Analytics Program Analyst, data storytelling is typically to be conducted with Tableau. However, during the clinic session, you may introduce with Power BI as well, or even make use of Excel to improve the capability of data manipulation and graphical presentation. Whereas for PCP, for data analyst, again, during the clinic session, this enrichment section where you'll be introduced with Power BI and Tableau as well on top of Excel spreadsheet. Now, with this situation, you'll be able to equip yourself with data and visualization tools pretty much related to business intelligence on top of all the skill set you're going to acquire from the 5 or 4 courses in 2 respective programs. Another very interesting question. Is there a difference between data analyst and data scientist? In fact, I will add on, is there differences between data engineer, data analyst, and data scientist? Or even data storyteller, based on this morning session. Now, what was typically the case is that when you go through a proper 1 month of training as a reprofiling intention, you'll be reprofiled to be data analyst. However, as mentioned earlier on, answering to one of the earlier questions, if you want to be a full-fledged of data scientist, you are strongly encouraged to come back to continue your study with us by joining our Master of Technology program. With that sense, you'll be able to train in more rigorous manner, more in-depth in terms of syllabus and duration. So you'll be equipped with more techniques, more in-depth of knowledge in terms of data and analytics in data science space. Whereas if you're referring to data engineer, typically it's reprofiled from IT professional to handle data perspective. For example, data preparation, data piping, data crunching, extraction of data, handling the data warehouse, data mart, and etc. Another question, how many enrollment do you run per year? When is the next run? Now, it really depends on the demand. Typically, since 2016, we typically conducted 3 to 5 runs per year. It really depends on demand, and of course, there are some cases it's really corporate run as well. So the next run will be in September 2020. Okay. do visit our website for further information as well, or reach out to my colleague from Career Services team. Another question, after 4 months practicum, what's next? It all depends on the journey. We're really hopeful that after you do profile to data analyst, you will continue your service with the company, at the same time acquire additional industry experience in data and analytics space. At the same time, as part and parcel of the lifelong learning, you may want to come back to join our master degree program to further enhance your skill set so that you'll be able to lift yourself to next level from data analyst to data scientist. Another question, briefly I answered the other question as well. What are the tools that will be covered under each program? Example, Tableau, R, or SQL. Right, so in this case, for PCP data analyst, pretty much is covered using R programming. Whereas in the clinic session, there's enrichment class to cover data visualization and business intelligence tools such as Tableau and Power BI. Whereas for PCP BAPA, we don't cover R programming, but more in software tools perspective. And of course, in a data storytelling, it is taught in Tableau. In clinic session, we will cover the SQL, Microsoft Power BI, Excel, and etc. We should feel that there's a demand from the industry. We feel that it is important for a data analyst to be equipped with so that it can improve their ability, the skill set to handle real industry project from data science space. Another interesting question, is BAPA less technical than DA? To a certain extent, yes, because pretty much for PCP, BAPA, it is really depends on the data analytics program management. Of course, you need to get involved in as well, going through the prediction, statistically data analysis, and even implement a typical data dashboard, reporting, and of course, even presentation perspective. However, on the other hand, for PCPDA, you require to really implement an algorithm to solve a particular problem using R programming. Or of course, you're familiar with Python, right? So we don't constrain the usage of tools or programming or software. It really depends on the needs from the company, the requirement from the project perspective. Okay, one of the typical questions asked by candidate is, for those with no statistic background, maybe I share one of the slides pertaining to the journey. What happens in this case? We have one session sharing pertaining to PCP by my colleagues yesterday. A typical journey is that you need to go through interview and to be hired. Then there is a training. Now before the training, in fact, there's an entrance test, right? So you have to get yourself prepared for the test. Now in terms of entrance test, we should require fundamental of mathematics and in this case, statistics, right? So for those without statistic background, my advice is you're strongly encouraged to revise or pick up the fundamental in statistics. You will improve your understanding. You will improve your learning experience with us in the event that you successfully enroll in this program. There's another interesting question. As I mentioned, SQL is the third language, right? So what is the first and second? Currently, based on the industry survey, based on the real implementation, Python rank top, followed by R programming, then SQL. Another question, is there credit saving or credit savings from PCP when continuing with master degree program? Now, typically you'll be exempted for all the courses if they're done in PCP. However, due to the master degree program, it is based on graduate certificate perspective, right? So you may be exempted for the courses. However, you still need to do the project and sit for the exam. Now, because of this question, one distinctive between PCP and graduate certificate, which take up to be master degree in enterprise business analytics program, is because the PCP practicum only consists of project, whereas for graduate certificate or master degree program, each graduate certificate consists of project and examination. So do visit our website for all the graduate certificates requirements as well. In graduate certificate, we name it as practice module. Another question, those with no statistics knowledge, what could be their learning journey and possible challenges? Now, in terms of the first program, PCP for data analyst, statistics bootcamp, for example, you will need to learn a lot of statistics concept using R programming. That's why you always encourage the participant to do self-preparation before the course, which means try to pick up R programming and at the same time revise or pick up statistics in the event that you don't have statistics background in your previous study. Now with this situation, with sufficient adequate of self-preparation, hopefully you won't have a very steep learning curve when you embark on this program with us, especially the first course. Which PCP can bridge to become data scientist? I may not have a specific answer for you, but both is eventually stack up to be your master degree, which you train to be data scientist. Right? If you're looking at the situation here, I would say that the second one is tougher. The first one is tougher, PCP for data analyst. However, both do have the learning outcome, the skill set to be acquired to be a full-fledged of data scientist. Okay. Now with that, I would like to conclude this session. Thanks for your attention.